Television with a dynamic duo. Nairobi Senator Johnson Sakaja, Makueni Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr. Gentlemen, let me start with you again, Senator Sakaja. Your party today, my goodness, talk about falling over all over yourselves. Secretary General Raphael Tuju calls a press conference, Jubilee supporting ODM in Makueni. Last minute, Deputy President steps in. He says, oops, maybe someone didn't send me the memo or the WhatsApp message, and he looks very uncomfortable. What's going on, bro?
Jeff, I'm at a loss. You know, many times I put up a very brave face on what's happening in Jubilee. Jeff, you remember last year we lost my good friend and brother, Kenokoth. And during Kenokoth's, the late funeral, I at that point pleaded with the party that we should not field a candidate in Kibra. Because, you know, in honor of Ken, and because at that time, you know, the handshake was even much stronger, and we didn't want that antagonistic politics in Nairobi. And I said I'll go to the party leader and ask for it. I went to the party leader and to the party, you know, mechanisms, and I was, you know, proven, or rather judged wrong. And they said that the party must, you know, still exist. The party is strong. The party stands. And because of that, the party must field a candidate. And so I said, you know, I mean, it's a democracy. I had my opinion, but I was overruled. And I thought that that then would be the theme. So when the decision was made today, I was surprised what changed between the Kibra by-election and this election in Makueni. I'm still consulting the oracles and wise men to find out what changed, because the points that were raised then by the party about you know, the strengthening of the party, democracy, it exists, Article 38, that every person has a right to vie. You know, I was really told, man, you're wrong, and I accepted. And so I'm wondering, was I right then and they were wrong, or is it now that I am right and they're wrong? I don't know. Ultimately, Jeff, these decisions, and we need as party members to be able to be told how such decisions are reached. I abide by the decision of the party, and the Deputy President himself said as well that in as much as he did not agree with it, it's a decision that has been reached. We want to know which organs. So that a party must be predictable. You know, we must always know that this party stands for fair competition or not. And even if a member has an opinion, once a decision by the party is made, then you're bound to that decision. So let's see how Makueni goes. We had at that press conference the Deputy President saying that if that candidate akimongelesha vizuri and support, I think either way there's going to be someone's going to have a run for their money in Makueni. God rest Mheshimiwa Dori's soul in eternal peace. He was a good friend. Mheshimiwa Dori, actually, the first time we ever had a function in the last parliament was 2013, when we all went for an induction in Diani, which is part of Makueni, and after that we went to a church function as colleagues, and we didn't think we'd lose him. Neither did we think that his you know, the by-election to replace him would, you know, bring up such controversy. But let's see how it goes, and we pray that the people of Makueni get the right leader.
Sure. Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr., listen to the reluctance with which Senator Sakaja just gave that. I mean, he's almost sucking in his teeth. He can't believe what's going on in Jubilee.
You know, Sakaja is always very bold about his statements. If he hasn't quoted the Bible up to now, and hasn't quoted anybody, he quoted Samson on the case of the Chief Justice. So he hasn't quoted anybody. So
I've quoted oracles about to be consulted.
that should tell you the dilemma is in. But Jeff, it's not unusual. It's that time when political parties must call it quits. And it's only that they haven't mentioned, only that what they were doing at Jubilee House is what political parties don't do. They just split and everybody goes their own way. They were just doing what is called public display of disaffection, disagreements. But I said this a long time ago in Kibera. I said the slogan had changed. Tulikuwa pamoja. They are not together. They are not agreeing. What they are doing now is, you know, just they are taking pictures, very nice pictures. But Senator Sakaja is disappointing because
Mutula is talking like he's not in a party. He's wiper fielding in Msambweni.
Yeah, wait. I'll tell you when we go to Mombasa for the weekend. Now, the fact is that I understand where Sakaja is coming from as a person who is a founder member of TNA, and then they merged with URP, and the fallouts and what is following thereafter is quite disappointing. In fact, Jeff, you are very unfair to Sakaja to pin him down on such questions, and you know he's not going to tell you the truth. And just pray for him.
I will say what I know.
But in reality, because Sakaja is not an ordinary member of Jubilee, trust me, he's not just another guy off there. You know, when you see him, you should fear him. This gentleman knows the inside, but he can't say it here on camera. If he was to tell you the truth, Jeff, we'll switch off his cameras and disappear into the darkness.
Come for that nyama I have offered. Jeff, really, the fundamental questions that party members are asking, and I've seen all over, how those decisions are arrived at, because there must be consistency. We didn't field in Embakasi, we fielded in Kibra and had made the request. And you know, Jeff, when that decision to field was made, we really felt that we're taken for granted, because Jeff, I'm the senator for Nairobi on Jubilee.
Sorry.
With close to 1 million votes courtesy of my party, which I support. When I'd made such an appeal, when the decision is made, it would be courteous, to have called the members in Nairobi, to call the senator, the governor, and say, ask members, what do you think? Do you think we should field in this by-election or not? And I think the same goes for the Coast Jubilee leaders. We have a chairman in Kwale County. We have party officials, parties, and I've always believed, Jeff, I felt so strongly since I was, back then when I was in party leadership, that the future of this party, of this country, is on building strong political institutions. Jeff, it cannot be about the rule of man or subjectivity, that I decide today we move this way, tomorrow we move this way. Parties have organs, parties should have structures, and parties should be institutionalized. And I'm afraid to say that has not happened within my party, which I love, Jubilee. And I think there's still time to do that. Let us build a strong institution which has organs and processes and systems, because that is how we will be able to detribalize this country. That's how we will be able to move from personality issues. And you remember, even in the Senate debate, I kept saying there was no party position on the formula, because a party position is not Kangata's opinion, because Kangata is the senator for Muranga and these counties are competing. The party position cannot be Pogisio's opinion, or the ODM party position is not Orengo's. Wiper's party position is not Mutula's position. A party position is when you call your members, you canvass an issue, you bring it up, you hear the conflicting schools of thought, and then the party members make a decision. Once a decision is made like that, there must be true fidelity to that decision.
Yeah.
So far, our parties have not been acting like that, and I'm disappointed.
I agree. Total disappointment. Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr., look, let's go to Ukambani politics. And there's a story on social media, and it's all over the place. Machakos Governor Alfred Mutua lashing out at ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi, saying, hey, man, stop copying my tactics, man. Everything I do, you're a copy-paste kind of guy.
Yes. Jeff, what is the question?
The question
that Mutua is complaining somebody is copying him. I mean, Mutua must have copied Cobra's code from somewhere. I mean, why would he complain about somebody copying his tactics? I don't think that's fair comment to Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, who is his senior in politics. And I don't know whether he copied him, because my friend Alfred Mutua, in his quest to become a governor, translated his plea for presidency in all mother tongues. I have not heard Musalia do the same. I have not heard Musalia do the same like he has done. So therefore, that is not fair comment. But Jeff, to conclude what Sakaja was saying, for purposes of Jubilee, let me tie that by saying that in all political parties, and I confirm to him we are fielding a candidate in Msambweni, in all political parties, the Political Parties Act requires that there must be a National Executive Council. So what the press statement would read in an ideal situation, of course we don't deal in an ideal situation, this is Kenya, where it's a land of impossibility. National Executive Council of Jubilee met and decided the following. Those are not normally the statements, they just issue something. And therefore, what he's talking about, the future of political parties, is organs making decisions, and those decisions then are enforceable and are not countermanded in public.
Okay, Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr., your party leader has been silent as a mouse during this time. What's going on?
On what?
On everything.
On, he's been silent as a mouse. I thought the mouse is in terms of poverty. That is an example for my party leader has spoken about the statement by the Chief Justice. My party leader spoke about the revenue sharing formula. My party leader has spoken about the politics of BBI and the return of reggae. What exactly did you want him to talk about? Did you want him to say that he's also being copied?
Okay. All right. Senator Sakaja.
Jeff, you know.
Yeah, go on.
Jeff, but just in all fairness, and maybe not to be, to play into the hands of Governor Mutua and be finicky about things, I thought that was a parody account. You're the one who's confirming that it actually came from him. Governor Mutua is an ambitious person, and he's been a friend. Musalia Mudavadi is nowhere near the league of Mutua is nowhere near the league of Musalia Mudavadi, and Musalia has been vice president. He's been a presidential candidate. In fact, in 2007, he was saying he's a safe pair of hands, and that is what Mutua is accusing him of copying. Yet he was government spokesperson. So I think that is not the kind of thing we want to hear from presidential candidates like Mutua. Let him sell an agenda, and the Englishmen say imitation is the best form of flattery. Yeah. And so if you feel you've been imitated or copied, then that's a form of flattery. But Jeff, I must, in defense of Mutula's party leader, though I'm not in that party and I have no intentions of joining that party, I must say that during this revenue stalemate, this country was really divided. And I remember myself and Mutula and many of us consulting many of our leaders. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, His Excellency, was one of them. Musalia Mudavadi was one of them. Raila Odinga was one of them. His Excellency the President was one of them, as well as the Deputy President. And I think behind the scenes, a lot was happening, and a lot of discussions were happening. And I must say, His Excellency Kalonzo was of great help in that process, and so was Musalia Mudavadi. You saw all of them saying similar statements. It's just that they didn't have the Y is equals to A plus B. But everyone said win-win, and we got a win-win formula. And so some things don't happen in full view and full glare of the cameras, but we're that kind of country where we can pick a phone call and speak to these leaders and work together.
Okay, let's look at another candidate. Gentlemen, hold on, Senator. Let's look at another. Yeah, hold on. We finished with your part.
This is important.
Okay.
Senator Sakaja calls Senator Malala his distinguished cousin. Senator Wetangula calls Sakaja his distinguished uncle. Senator Sakaja calls Mheshimiwa Atuoli his uncle. So what does he call Musalia Mudavadi?
No, but actually, in real truth, Jeff, ask Mheshimiwa Musalia. In back home, the name is Kotsa. Is my Kotsa. His mother comes from my mother's village, and they're related somehow. But he will explain it. That notwithstanding, it's good for people to want to associate with you. And so Senator Malala and Senator Wetangula are distinguished relatives.
Okay.
As well. So Senator Mutula, what are you then?
Let's stay in Western, since we're in Western, Senator Sakaja. And let me ask you about another candidate who a lot of people think as a dark horse candidate. Not quite there, but could be there. Yes. If Baba said Tosha, maybe this is the guy. I'm talking about Dr. Mukisa Kitui. Your thoughts on him?
First of all, of course, Dr. Mukisa Kitui is an exceptional gentleman. He's a diplomat of high repute internationally. and he's someone who you enjoy listening to. He's left his mark across the world. He strides it like a colossus, and he can at speed dial speak to any president. But the notion, and we must disabuse ourselves of this notion, that there is something called transferability of votes. Votes are not transferable. If the former prime minister says Mutula tosha, it doesn't mean Mutula will get those votes, because the people who support him don't support him blindly. If he says Mukisa tosha, that's not what anyone should wait for. So I don't think Mukisa Kitui has declared presidency. I know he's been meeting leaders and we've had a conversation, but he's not said, I've not heard that he's declared that he's going for president. In fact, if anything, I think he's denied. Maybe due to the nature of his job, but he would be an interesting candidate to watch come 2022. I think what we're going to see, Jeff, is that there will be alignments. Many people will declare. We say many are called but few are chosen. Many will declare. Even Mutula might declare, I might declare. People will declare. But at the end of it, it will be a two-horse race. And the fissures and the lines are already showing themselves. It is going to be Raila Ruto. And those are the camps that are going to be there. So whoever is going to be on the ticket. And one of the things about BBI is that then you'll have a poster. You'll have two posters. That's one of the things I like about BBI, because if that passes, then you'll have 5 people, a president, a deputy, a prime minister, 2 deputies from different regions, and another 5 from even similar or different regions. And people will feel, okay, if these ones don't get, these ones will get. So there's going to be a poster. So many of these declarations is to find space in the poster, Maybe Mutu wants to be a deputy prime minister, or he wants to be president. I wish him all the best. Mukisa Kitui. I don't know any other candidate who's declared apart from the deputy president and Musalia. They'll find a place, and we'll have a president, Jeff.
Yeah. You forget very easily, Senator, because Mwangi Wairia from Moranga also declared, remember?
Oh, I must have missed that.
Oh, snap.
I probably did. But I mean, also for him, man, all the best. Jeff, this is a democracy. You can declare. But declaring is not winning. We had other candidates, Professor Wanaina in the last one. We had candidates who didn't get, and I'm in no place, because I'm also a voter and I'm also voted for, to diminish anybody's dream.
Sure.
This world is the world belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams.
Yeah, Senator.
But they need to wake up at the right time as well, and not just dream, and work with others.
Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr., your thoughts on what Senator Sakaja just said about the lineup and everything? These folks are literally, they're positioning themselves for those 5 positions. Is that what they're doing? Oh,
yes. There are a lot more, even possibly sitting governors who are positioning themselves for deputy prime ministers. We know the lineup and what exactly is doing and how BBI is shaping up. If you just want to know what's happening, just see who is in Kajiado, who is in the picture, and you'll know how the lineups are looking like. You don't need to be told. They say pictures speak 1,000 words. What Senator Sakaja has not said about Mukisa is that, and I agree, Professor Kibwana wants to be a president. He says he's going to do better than Kibaki. I don't know what Mukisa is going to do when he comes, etc., etc. I sat in a meeting recently, and the leaders from Western Kenya were gossiping about Mukisa Kitui and the sort of person he is. We must allow people to win, to ask for presidency.
Yeah.
Senator Orengo wanted to be a president. Professor Anyang' Nyong'o wanted to be a president. Charity Ngilu wanted to be a president. Mwalimu Dida wanted to be a president. Sakaja says, I will declare I will not. But I want to say on this show something that the former president told us when we went to visit him. He said that the fact that you are known is not enough to become a president. He says, I can pick a phone and call somebody in Lamu. I'll pick a phone and call somebody in Wajir. And I will have a friend in all those places, or Lodwa. So the challenge for these presidential candidates, including my own governor, is whether he has a friend in Marsabit, Abaswen, Kakuma, Shimoni, even Mukisa Kitui. The last I remember of Mukisa Kitui is their battle with my late father on Crossfire. That's the last we remember of him. So let him come back to the country, declare and ask for votes. That is what democracy is about. But I can assure you there will be many will be called, and it's just like Sakaja is saying, but not all of them who reach the final line.
Senator, is your governor among?
And I also don't agree with him that it's going to be at.
Is your governor amongst those who could be called?
It will not.
Your governor.
He has been called to the table, yes, but that's just being called to the table. Eventually, when he gets out of Makueni and goes to Vihiga to ask for presidential votes, he will be surprised that they will ask him who he is. You know, that sort of thing. So the fight for presidency is not minimalistic the way we all appear to be discussing it.
Okay.
While Sakaja talks about both Raila and Deputy President, he has forgotten to talk about Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. Where did he imagine he's going to be? He said 2 camps. Which camp did he put my party leader? Just wondering.
He might even be leading one of those camps. What I mean is this, Jeff.
That's what you meant.
Yes, I'm saying there will be formations, and right now the luminaries. You know, if we're realistic, apart from President Uhuru Kenyatta, because he's not vying and he's not going for any other seat. As far as I know, he might choose to. I don't speak on his behalf. We have Right Honorable Raila Odinga. We have Deputy President William Ruto. We have Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, and we have Musalia Mudavadi. That is Serie A, Ligi So. Then there is the next league of others. What I'm saying when I say that it will be a 2 or 3, I'm not saying even Raila and Ruto would be the candidates, but there will be formations even of those 4 and others that might coalesce around that. That is just my prediction. I could be wrong. I'd be happy if I'm wrong, because you never know. There could be, you know, something, a maverick, you know, that happens, that comes up. But I strongly feel, Jeff, we have 1 year, 320 or 319 days to the next election. Even Barack Obama didn't just come up in 1 year, 321 days. These things take some time. You must be name recognition, as Mutula is saying. Out of those 4, I don't see anybody else overtaking. But I see others coming within those formations. When I talk about a Raila team or a Ruto team, the Raila team could be led by Kalonzo as a presidential candidate, and Raila as the prime minister, or Raila and Ruto might be in one team, you know, but everything will revolve around those 2, and that's how it will be. This one, I might be like Makau Mutua and say that take it to a bank, any bank near you, including Imperial Bank.
Yeah, looks like you have a crystal ball now. Is that it, gentlemen? A crystal ball. All right.
It's actually a crystal ball.
let's take a look at.
It's a year, 321 days, man. And yeah.
Anything can happen. Gentlemen, let's look at some tweets which are coming in very thick and very fast. Jeff Ochwoga says, ask the senators what will happen if the president declines to dissolve parliament as advised legally by the CJ, and putting into context that the word shall, is mandatory as has been used in the Constitution. Senator Mutula Kilonzo, advocate of the High Court.
Yes, as far as I'm concerned, although I've had many interpretations of the word shall, and shall cannot have the same meaning as may, the fact of the matter is that President exercising his jurisdiction as President, the same way he has a right to veto our decisions as Parliament, the President, in protecting the Constitution, must go behind the documents he has been given to interrogate. So what will happen if we are not dissolved? We will go to the Senate and propose this bill, pass it, and take it to the National Assembly. And life will move on, prepare for the elections, etc., etc. Sakaja and I were asking the question, assuming the President tomorrow morning calls a press conference at 9 and says you have been dissolved, we go to elections. Who does the budget for the elections? And there's no budget for the elections. Those are the sort of things we are talking about.
Okay, good.
Now, assuming you have elections, say in February, you have no Chief Justice. The Chief Justice retires in December.
You want to vet him.
Yeah, and they need people to vet him. You know, those sort of things, Bwana.
Yeah. Okay. Good points. Josie Nyamai says, kindly ask Senators Sakaja and Mutula Jr. how practical it is for counties to get 370 billion shillings as equitable share in 2021-2022 when the growth of equitable share has been stagnant. Senator Sakaja.
It is extremely practical. In fact, Jeff, one of the victories that we've scored, and this was not a win for Team Kenya or whatever team, it was a win for Kenya and for devolution. Jeff, if you look at how the money going to counties, the equitable share has been going up year on year. It is in small, bite-sized drops, 2 billion, 5 billion. Last year, we almost broke tables because of 316.5 billion. But now it has jumped to 370. It would have taken us another maybe 6 years or even 7 years of devolution to get to 370. How I know it is possible is that, Jeff, we're talking about 370 billion. The national government budget is close to 3 trillion. It is just a small fraction. And that's why I kept saying, if you had me when I moved the amendment, what was then called Sakaja amendment, I don't like referring to myself, but that's what it was called at that time. I said, we keep focusing on dividing the cake, but not how to bake a bigger cake. That we might even soon need a commission, not just of revenue allocation, but a commission of revenue generation. And those are the questions we must ask ourselves.
Yeah.
So when the president commits, and on this one, we trust his commitment, and we'll make sure it is reflected in the Division of Revenue Act in the next financial year in Dora, and we will stand firm on 370. Once the president commits, he knows where to realign national government budgets. He knows where, the Ministry of Health budget, for instance, and it takes care of only 4 referral hospitals. That is Mbagathi, Kenyatta National Hospital, I think MTRH, the spinal injury, and Madare. But it has a budget bigger than the budget of almost 4 or 5 counties. It is possible for that money to be found. What was missing was the goodwill. We found a win-win goodwill. So 370 is extremely realistic. And BBI itself is proposing, the BBI that is being pushed by huge luminaries in this country, is proposing 35% of last audited revenue, and the audits have actually come to be timely. So you're talking about, leave alone 370, you're talking about more than 400 billion shillings going to the country. So it's possible.
Okay.
But there's a will, there is a way.
Okay, someone is asking on Twitter, Senator Sakaja, real quick, your comment on the hot-cold relationship between Governor Sonko and NMS Director General body. What's up with that, man? I mean, today it's a warm relationship, they're cozy. Tomorrow it's cold as ice. Very schizophrenic.
Number one, I think I don't know what's. I think I've been too busy with the revenue formula, and I need to sit and engage them both as a senator, because I still oversight both. The constitutional responsibilities for the functions that have been transferred to NMS are still with the county government. That is what the constitution says, and the senator still exercises oversight. NMS started very well, and the intention is very good, because there are 4 functions. You remember the governor was encumbered by the court case that he had, and he willingly signed. I know later he said something happened in between, but he willingly signed, and therefore the responsibility is with NMS. NMS started very well. If you look at the CBD, if you look at the work they've been doing, in Nairobi you got more than 100 boreholes, Jeff, and high mast water tanks where people are getting water for free, and I think that was in the first 100 days. They would consult us. I used to get a report, and the president directed them to get me a report twice a week, and I was getting at least even latest once a week, because we're in the same building, and we knew what they were doing. I would brief MPs. But I think something happened somewhere, and they have been instructed to forget about politicians and not to work with MPs and not to work with the governor and not to work with the senator. And I think that is where we need to recalibrate, because ultimately, Jeff, we have a mandate from the people and we are serving the same people. There are no Nairobians of NMS and Nairobians of Sonko and then other Nairobians of Sakaja. They are all one collective called the people of Nairobi. And so some things need to be done. And also, to some extent, I sympathize with Governor Sonko, because beyond what is transferred, I think there's also been some bit of overreach by NMS and in certain other aspects that I don't think we'll go into details now. They need to also just give him his respect, let him do his thing. He has some functions he has been left with, let him handle those functions.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's uchokozi mingi. You find he's put a booth to sanitize, they've destroyed it. He's put what, they come and it is unnecessary. But also he should accept that he's transferred functions and let NMS do their work, let them get payroll in those sectors, and they can be able to balance. So this is something that I'm working on with both of them. I respect them both, they are my friends, but we need to remember it's not about egos, it's not a pissing contest, it's about the people of Nairobi.
Absolutely. In fact, Jackie Nganga, talking of you two, she says, it looks like it's patch versus changes. And then Herman Manyo.
Mutula wasn't in patch. I was in changes, maroon.
And then Herman Manyora says, don't bring these young men again. They will break our ribs, especially Mutula Jr.
Herman Manyora, I've missed Herman Manyora. He has a very interesting blog. Is it a blog or some videos he does on the weekend?
Yes.
Herman Manyora taught my wife, actually, in the University of Nairobi.
All right, gentlemen, I'm going to get some closing thoughts from you, okay? Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr., you first. Closing thoughts going forward.
Jeff, we have witnessed, of course, COVID, it's a pandemic, gave us a little break in terms of politics. But we have seen that politics is back, reggae is back. But it's important we say that we need this country together. There are certain things that happened in the past and we cannot imagine that it will not happen again. Some of the statements politicians are making are extremely unnecessary. The vitriol that is being poured in public platform is extremely and wholly unnecessary. It's not going to help anybody. We are not going to do an election tomorrow. But more importantly, let's not have an election that is like a do or die. That that we must win. Everybody must win at all costs. It's this idea of people must win. I must be number one past the post that caused us the problems in 2007, 2008. Your media stations must continue preaching peace. I know you must get coverage, but I think at some point you must make a deliberate decision to block off the people who are causing animosity and spewing vitriol and speaking in mother tongue and doing all sorts of things that are only helping I don't know who. Jeff, so you and I have a role. I have pledged to myself that for purposes of getting elected, I will not go and spew verbal diarrhea out there about tribes, and therefore we must preach unity at all costs. Thank you.
Very good. Very well put, Senator. Very mature of you. Senator Johnson Sakaja, you get the final word.
Jeff, I'll pick up from where Mutula has left. And the past few months, really weeks, have shown us that indeed, Jeff, there's a remnant that believes in one Kenya. That there's no Kenya A or Kenya B. That the right of a child in Mandera is the same as that of a child in Kakamega. And that their dreams should be treated the same, and we must guarantee them all a future. Jeff, I know during that period, and I'm glad for the leaders who stood strong, and I want to encourage leaders everywhere, MCAs, MPs, governors, senators, that, as a leader, never be afraid to be misunderstood, and don't take action because you're afraid of being misunderstood. If your conscience is clear and your intentions are right, do the right thing, and people will understand later. And I'm glad that we've been largely vindicated on the stand we took for one Kenya that is indivisible, that moves in one direction. So I take the same pledge that Mutula has taken. I want to ask my colleagues to tone down this insulting people's parents, insulting what it adds no value, it will add no vote to yourself or your candidate, and let's be able to respect everyone, and let us not allow shrinking of our democratic space. Finally, Jeff, I just want to urge the president and the government, because I know there's going to be a conference soon on COVID. The economy is really hurting, but let's make decisions that are informed by science. We have a beautiful institution called Cambridge, the top in Africa in terms of medical research. When I was chairing the COVID committee, they were already culturing and looking whether the virus is attenuating or whether it is mutating. I think the decisions that we make must be informed by science, but our children should not be the guinea pigs. We can't say the first thing to open up is schools. I am totally against that. I think schools should be the last thing to be opened. Let us agree that 2020 we've lost as a year for education. Let children go to school in 2021. when everybody else has been tested. And when we've set up the right infrastructure, parents have spent money, the economy has been hard, people can't afford to buy books, people can't afford to pay fees and uniform. Let the economy start picking up. Let us increase capacity. When you talk about 50 desks per school, I have schools in Nairobi with more than 3,000 students. 50 desks are a drop in the ocean. I don't think we're ready. I don't know what the rush is. It is soon October, November, December. Let schools open in January, and let's reopen the economy so that this curfew thing is becoming fallacious. During the day, top politicians are meeting hundreds of people. They're in big rallies. And then at night you call a curfew as if COVID wakes up at 9 p.m. and says, now let me roam the streets like a roaring lion. That's not how it works. Let's make decisions based on science. And God bless Kenya and God bless you, Jeff.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, thank you so much. And Senator Sakaja, I hope the president's announcement on Monday will be positive, because I can't wait to have those drinks you promised at Ladies Lounge, okay, when you're ready.
Karibu.
Gentlemen, always a pleasure.
Yeah, not schools. We start with...
I told you, arguably the most dynamic duo in politics. Nairobi Senator Johnson Sakaja, Makueni Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr. And folks, don't forget, JKLive is powered by KCB Visa Card. All you need to do is tap your Visa card and go, go, go. It is safe, it is fast, it is secure. So next time you go shopping, just tap and pay and get rewarded, as they say. KCB, folks, it's all about moving forward. If this will move with me, there you go. Next time you're going shopping, grab your KCB Visa card. Tap to pay. Tap, tap, tap. Hapo sasa. KCB Bank, go ahead. Thanks so much for being a part of JKLive. Remember, every Wednesday, it's all about those three letters on the keyboard that follow each other. JK. Oh, by the way, it's my mother's birthday tomorrow and my sister's. They're watching. Happy birthday in advance. Okay, we'll wait a couple of hours, but 30 minutes. Happy birthday, Mom. Shiro, goodbye. Good luck. God bless you all.